Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our Sustainable Living Week lesson for early years to P3. We've got a wonderful story for you today and a lovely special guest. But first, we're going to have a wee chat. We're going to talk about what sustainability means because it's important to know what we're talking about. So what is sustainability? It is quite a big word and it's used to describe many different things. But what does it actually mean? Sustainability means to live in a way that looks after our planet. At the moment, we have and we buy a lot of things. Making these things can harm our planet. You can see the smoke behind him and the withering flowers. Especially if we always take new materials from our planet to make those things. You can see the man there is mining new rocks. And on the right, you can see that we've cut down new trees for wood. And sometimes the people who make our things might be paid too little for their work. Lots of our things end up in the bin, so there is lots of waste. We need to look after our planet and people much better than we do now. And to do this, we need to buy fewer things. We need to repair things if they break. We need to reuse things and not just throw them away. We need to recycle things. And this is what sustainable means. So as part of our lesson this week or today on sustainability, we'd like to invite you to do an activity. It's called Stitching for Sustainability. And in the resource folder that your teacher has, there are some ideas of how you can learn some stitches so that you can repair clothing when it gets a hole in it or it needs some repairs. And one of the things you could do is you could try sewing your name. Like I have tried sewing my name here. Unfortunately, I've got quite a long name, so the spacing's not ideal, but you can see you can make some stitches to put your name or your initials. And later on, I'm going to maybe try to sew some flowers on this. So make it look really nice and I could put it up on my desk. If hopefully you have your paper and your black, blue, and green pencils or crayons ready, because it's time for me to introduce our special guest. Today, we are very lucky to have Emily Gravett with us. She is an author and illustrator, and she has written a book called Too Much Stuff. And she's here today to tell us a story and to share some drawing with us. Welcome, Emily.
Okay, so hi, my name is Emily Gravett. I'm an author and an illustrator, so I'm really lucky. I'm the person that writes the books and I also get to draw the pictures, which is brilliant. And sometimes I draw the pictures for other illustrators. So you might see on this big load of books I've got here, there's a book called A Song of Gladness, and that was written by Michael Morpurgo, and there's Quidditch Through the Ages, and that was J.K. Rowling. So I write and illustrate as well. So next slide. Thank you. So I always loved drawing, but I never thought that drawing was something that I could do as a job. And I thought what I'd do is I'd show you a couple of the drawings that I did when I was little. The first one is this one. And the reason I brought it with me is because, showing it to you, is because it's the best drawing that I've ever done in my whole life. That drawing that I just showed you was a drawing of my mum. It's a special kind of drawing called an observational drawing, which is a long word, but actually it's a simple idea because most of the time when we draw, we use our imaginations. But because this is an observational drawing, it means that I was sitting looking at the thing that I was drawing. I was observing it while I drew it. And if you start to do that, you start to get much better drawings. So that's an observational drawing. And the second drawing that I wanted to bring, you can move that slide on. Okay, so it was a drawing of this clock, but I don't have the drawing because my mum scrunched it up and threw it in the bin. But it was a very special drawing because when I was little, well, my sister believed that there were 3 little green men that lived inside the clock. And so when we used to go out to town, she used to get halfway down the street and she used to lie down on the pavement and scream, "I want the little green men!" And then my mum used to say, "No, Hannah, you are not having the little green men." And then my sister used to have a massive tantrum and then we'd have to go back and get the little green men from the clock. So it was very special. And even though it didn't ever work, my mum kept it on the wall. She always said that she would repair it, which is very sustainable, but she never has. It's still on her wall now. So when I was in nursery school, I drew a picture of the clock and I brought it home to my mum and she said, "Emily, it's really beautiful. I am going to put that drawing on the wall." When she did, something really weird happened. My drawing of the clock started to tick just like a real clock. It went tick, 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 tick. And my mum thought it was really spooky. So she got all the neighbours round and they all listened to it and they all were listening to the ticking. And that's when she scrunched it up and threw it in the bin. And at those point, there was no recycling. So it really was thrown in the bin. And do you think that I thought it was spooky? I thought I developed these special magical powers and I could make drawings come to life. So I decided then and there that was a thing I really wanted to be. Next slide, please. I wanted to be a witch. And I thought, if I am going to learn to be a witch, the one thing I really need to do is I need to learn how to fly. Now, don't try this at home, kids. Very early one morning, before my mother was awake, I went to the top of the stairs. Can you show me the next slide, please? I went to the top of the stairs and I jumped. Do you think I flew? Let's have a look. If you press the button again, hopefully, you should see me. I was trying to fly, but bang! Actually, what I was really doing was I was falling. And that's when I realised that actually I didn't have any proper special magical powers and that I possibly couldn't become a witch. But as I grew older and older and older, I've realised there's more than one way to make magic. And the way that I feel that I can best make magic is to illustrate and write books that make people feel that they're in that world. And that's like a kind of magic all on its own. Can I have the next slide, please? Right, so this is where I come to how I'm going to read you my book. And my book is about too much stuff because I'm a bit like the magpies in this book and I have been guilty of getting too much stuff and I've been doing a big drive to try and not buy so much and to also recycle the things that I don't want anymore. But while I was doing that, I was writing a book about these magpies. Next page, please. This is the cover and then this is the end papers. End papers are a really exciting part of the book. They're at the beginning and they're at the end. And they're not really part of the story, but you can sort of make them part of a story. They're really fun. So this is like a page from a magazine and it's advertising lots of stuff that you could buy. So there's bikes and there's pegs and there's clocks and there's cars and there's brooms and there's teddy bears. So that's the end papers. Next page, please. And this is the title page, Too Much Stuff. Next page. In a tree that was taller than all of the rest, Meg and Ash were busy building a nest. They built it from mud and from grass and from sticks, and they dreamed that one day they would fill it with chicks. Then, lastly, to keep it all cosy and clean, they lined the whole thing with an old magazine. You recognise that magazine? It wasn't that long before they had laid 4 perfect eggs in the nest that they'd made. But looking around, they worried their nest needed more stuff to make it the best. And so, while one of them stayed behind, the other flew off to go and find the extra things that they agreed their chicks were really going to need. Now, at first, they brought back little stuff for 2 ornamental cuckoo clocks, 4 tiny socks, and a pack of plastic pegs in shades of blue to match their eggs. But still, it didn't seem enough, and so they got some bigger stuff. A Ted abandoned by a bin, the bin, and everything within. Better, they said, but not quite enough. Our perfect eggs deserve more stuff. Meg got some lights for when it got dark. Ash got a pram from a nearby park. It's looking a bit crowded in that nest. They nabbed a bucket and a mop, a brush, a broom. They could not stop. Wow, look at the big pile on the top of that nest. Ooh. They wondered if each chick would like to one day learn to ride a bike. And even though it took a while, the bikes got added to the pile. After that, they'd need a car, which may have been a step too far, as when they went and brought one back from the nest, they heard a uh-oh. Down fell the bikes, 1, 2, 3, 4, quickly followed by much more. The car came crashing down on top, followed by the brush and mop. The shiny bucket and the lights came clattering down from the heights. The fancy pram that they'd brought back hit the ground with quite a smack. Falling fast, the poor lost Ted landed hard upon his head. On top of him bumped the bin, its contents now outside, not in, and sailing down beside the clocks came the pairs of baby socks. Finally, the plastic pegs came falling down upon their eggs. Where are our eggs? The magpie stopped and looked around at all the things strewn on the ground and cried, "It didn't seem enough, but look at all this useless stuff!" Oh dear. They lifted off the plastic pegs, but still they couldn't find their eggs. And so the whole wood set about trying to dig their poor nest out. The lights got pegged up in a tree so all the animals could see. The bikes got taken back and left at the scene of their theft. The Ted was given by the bugs, to someone who would give him hugs. The cuckoo clocks made quite superb homes for all the smaller birds, and the socks made very nice, cosy beds for baby mice. The squirrels took the pram apart and used the bits to make a cart. The car became a fine fox den, big enough to hold all 10, and all the rubbish from the bin was swept back up and put back in. At last, the magpies reached their nest. It wasn't looking at its best. It's just a heap of shell and sticks. But under that, four perfect chicks. Hurrah! That's the end. I'll just show you the end papers on that last slide. Oh, hang on, that's not the end papers. Next one. And you can see it's still advertising. Do you think those are really useful things, that advertising? Useful roller skate with square wheels, chocolate teapot, umbrellas for ducks. And there's the 4 R's of recycling: reduce, reuse, repair and recycle. And now I think what we're going to do is I am going to show you a good idea. Can I have myself on the main bit of thing now? Can I do that? Is that possible? Okay, so we've got that. I don't know if you can see me as well, because what I like to do, I'm going to show you this. I like to collect things, a bit like a magpie, but rather than throwing things in the bin, I put them into my box here, and I call it my magpie box. And it's all the things that I might find useful for when I'm making things or doing crafts. So I've got old Christmas cards, old yogurt pots, old toilet roll tubes, bits of old ribbon, things like that. And I like to keep them all in a box, and I'm going to give you an idea of how you can do this too. And you see I have a drawing of a magpie on the front. I'm going to show you how to draw this magpie so that you can make a magpie box of your own, either for your classroom or at home. So I'm hoping that you were told to have a piece of paper. Can everybody see the piece of paper? Oh, yep, piece of paper and a pencil and a couple of green and blue pencils. But if you haven't got the green and blue, that's fine. I'm just going to see how far I can go with this drawing so that you can still see it. Oh, I've got loads of room. That's brilliant. So we're going to draw a magpie. So I want you to have your piece of paper landscape way. So not upright like that, not like that, but round the other way. Try and get it straight. A bit weird using the camera because it's like a bit like a kind of mirror or something. And we're going to start with go into the middle of your piece of paper and draw a little line. About as long as, just a bit longer than your finger. I'm going to draw a little line right in the middle like that. I can't ask if everybody's done it, but I'm hoping that they have drawn a little line. Quite easy. This is going to turn into a magpie, believe it or not. And then we're going to start at one end and we're going to do a curve that joins up both ends. Looks a bit like an orange segment or something, doesn't it? That, believe it or not, is the start of a magpie. Quite a good one, I think it's going to be. And then this is going to be our head end, so we can just make that a little bit rounder. And then from that pointy end, you draw a long, pointy beak. There we go. Everyone got their long pointy beak? And then you're going to go about a third of the way down. It was in 3 pieces, and from that bit you're going to draw another curve that goes up in the air. I think you're doing good. And then you're going to bring a straight line down towards that one. It doesn't join it up, but like that. It's a bit like lots of orange segments all joining together. That's the really good thing about drawing, is really it's just a lot of shapes put together. You can break pretty much everything you draw down into lots of different shapes, so ovals, squares, moons, orange segments. And we're going to go down from the bottom, it's just opposite there, and we're going to do another curve. This one's going to be a bit smaller, but it doesn't matter if it's not. This is the other thing I want you to remember about drawing is, if you look at your neighbour's drawing, it's not going to look like your drawing, and that's fine because all drawings come out differently. Just a bit like you and your person sitting next to you look different, drawings will look different. And it's not like doing a sum with maths that has a correct answer or an incorrect answer. When you draw, there's no wrong answer. So we're going to go from the point of that bottom one, we're going to go back up to there. You can see now it's really looking like a bird, can't you? And then we are going to, from the very bottom end of it, do a long loop and another long loop. And if you feel like it, you can do 3, but you don't have to. Right, we're getting there now. So see where you joined your wing on at the top there? We're going to do another curve that comes down to the bottom one. And then go to the back and do one going the same direction. All about curves in this one. And then we're going to draw a little circle up near his eye, but don't put anything else in, just a circle. And then from way up your wing on that side, on the curvy side, you can do another little curve that comes down to the bottom there. You all right? You managing? And then we're going to go down to the bottom wing, a bit along the curve there, and another curve that comes down and up there. And then we're going to do some colouring in. So we're going to colour in his beak and not colour in his eye, but go round the eye and go down to that curved line that we put there. Brilliant. And then the very tip of his tail bum, we're going to do that. And then we're going to colour in his tail feathers. I'm just going to leave a little bit at the end like that, empty, because I'm going to put some colour in there. Oh, sorry, I just jogged my camera, didn't I? I tell you what, I'm not very good at this technology stuff, even though I use a computer all day. Let me move him over a bit so he's in the middle. And colour in one of his other tail feathers. And then you see the little segments that you've got close to his body? I'm going to colour them in. There's one. There's 2. Now the only thing that's really missing is a look of feathers, I think. So what we're going to do is we're going to start just under this bit here, and you're going to follow the line of his wing round in lines and put some lines in like that. It looks like he's got feathers. And we're going to do the same on the other wing. There we go. Really does look like a magpie flying, doesn't it? And if you've got a blue or yellow pencil, you can use both or you can use one. I'm going to do this one in blue. I like blue. And just where that bit joins, I'm just going to colour over it a little bit, because magpies have, even if you colour on top of the black, you get a little bit of blue coming through. It's quite nice. And I'm going to put a little bit there too. And I'm going to colour in his end feathers there on his tail. We only need one last thing on this magpie, and that is a pupil, the dot in his eye. I love doing dots in eyes because you can make them look funny. So like you can either put the dot in the middle and he'll look surprised, like my magpies did when they heard the big crack, or you can, if you want him to look up, you can put the pupil right at the very top of the eye. And if you want him to look behind you, you can put it at the back, but I'm going to put mine at the front. A little dot, because I think I'm going to make my magpie is going to have picked up a wiggly ribbon to put in the magpie box. 2 wiggly lines, that's all the ribbon is. You see, he's got himself a lovely ribbon. And I'm going to finish it off by writing my name, Emily's magpie box. There we go. And then what you can do is stick this to the front of your cardboard box that you've got, your recycled cardboard box that you found, and then you can fill that full of bits and pieces for your next craft project or your next art project, because there's so much you can do with old cardboard and tubs and tubes and bits of tissue paper and ribbons, and there's loads of old things. So next time you're going to throw something out, have a good look at it first and think, what could I turn that into? It's better than throwing it out. Thank you very much. I wonder if you managed to finish everything.
That was brilliant, Emily. Thank you.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
I really enjoyed that. And I just wanted to show you how far I got with my own drawing. So there's my magpie. Very cute. And if anyone else has finished their magpie drawing, we would just love to see them. Please, if you can, please share them with us. And I'll show you how. There you go. That's how you can share your magpie drawings with us. You can email them to us at ecoschools@keepscotlandbeautiful.org, or you can share them with us on most social media programs at KSB Scotland. If you just want to tell us if we have permission to share them, we will be delighted to share them during our assembly on Friday, which I hope that you can also join us for. And if you have any questions for Emily about her work, about her books, about what it's like to be an author and an illustrator and the kinds of stories that she writes, you can also email your questions to us at that email address. Emily, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for your time and for your perseverance with the technology and for your wonderful drawing lesson and your story. I hope we can have you back again sometime. I hope everyone enjoyed today's lesson and you can join us on Friday. But that's all we have today. So bye for now.